Tia on the other side of the screen. Hello, Shine here. Welcome to my channel if it's your first time, and welcome back if you've watched my previous videos. Today's video is probably the first and the last of its kind that I'm going to be doing on this channel, because this time I am doing a sort of K-drama review. For those of you who have been supporting me and have been watching my contents for a while now, you know that one of my hobbies is watching, particularly anime and K-dramas. That's why for this video, I decided to share some lessons that I learned from watching a recent K-drama called 18 Again. It was based on the American film 17 Again, which starred Zac Efron. I really loved that movie. Actually, I got to watch it on the plane. So when I heard that they were planning to make a K-drama based on it, I was really excited, and it didn't disappoint me. Another thing that I did before watching it was to convince the rest of my family to watch it with me, and I'm so glad that I got to enjoy it with them, because it is basically about family. But before we start, I just want to say that this video may contain some spoilers, so if you don't really like that, then this video might not be for you. So with that said, let us begin. First, I'm gonna be sharing about the lessons regarding the couples, and then the parent-children relationship, and lastly, regarding friendships. Number 1. Communication is vital. Well, this is very important in any other kind of relationship as well. But here are the reasons why it is vital for couples. First, both are from different families, thus having different upbringing. No matter how similar a couple may be to one another, they can never be exactly the same and will always have differences. Without communication, it will be hard to work around these differences, and it could start brewing up misunderstandings. Number 2, be honest. Like I said, communication is important, but it doesn't mean simply talking to each other. You have to be honest. Let me read some phrases or quotes from the drama. At first, people don't tell their partners what they're going through because they don't want to worry them. When they hide what they're going through, and when the partner makes a hurtful comment on top of that, they get disappointed. They want their partner to know, and they want to be understood. But ironically, they aren't honest to their partners. For a while, only silence remains between the two, and anger and disappointments only builds up. Just like that, we often misunderstand one another and forget about the other's heartfelt intentions. They say marriage gives you your one and only that isn't your blood-related family. If they're your one and only, why can't you tell them anything? You should talk. Who knows? You might hear something that you've been waiting to hear. Just to give some context on the source of these words, it was said by the female protagonist. She was referring to how her husband didn't talk about his struggles at work, and how she only saw how he was being so unproductive and irresponsible when he is at home, because she had no idea what he was going through. And this brings us to number 3. Don't ever compare the weight of your struggles with that of your partner's. Because like what our female protagonist realized, there was so much she didn't know about. Same with our male protagonist. Whoever is left at home, whether it's the husband or the wife, as much as possible, don't nag your partner about not being of much help at home, because you don't know what hardships they might have gone through at work. Instead of nagging, you can ask your partner nicely. The tone of your voice, the manner of how you say it matters. Don't add to their stress from work. Now, I'm not saying that if you're the one who works to make a living, you're exempted from household chores. You're still living in that house. You have to do your part in making it feel like a home and set an example to your children. And remember, you can't belittle the work your partner does at home. Home management is quite difficult as well. Number 4, don't get tired of showing your love and affection for your partner. Not because you've been married for a long while, you no longer need to do things you did for one another when you were just starting out. This is a big no. No matter how long you've been dating or have been married, you need to continually show your love and affection to your partner. Keep doing acts of service and love. Write them a letter. You can even go on dates. Remind them of how much you love them by actually telling them, because you don't know. It might just be what your partner needs to lift their mood after having a bad day. And this will continually strengthen your bond. Number 5, learn to be more understanding. Going back to number 1, you and your partner are not the same. That is why you are bound to have conflicts and arguments, and that's normal. That's why when you find yourself in such a situation, try to be more understanding. Talk it out. If there's something that your partner did that you didn't like, tell them about it and then explain why you didn't like it. You can't expect your partner to always know why or what you may be upset about. They're not mind readers. So unless you tell them about it, they won't really know. Number 6, support one another. No matter how hard things get, as long as you're there supporting and helping one another, you'll get through it. But once the problem is internal, it's like being in a boat where the bottom has a hole and the water is slowly filling it up. It will eventually sink. So before it gets to such a point, it's better to sit down and have a heart-to-heart talk first to solve any misunderstandings you may have. Number 7, communicate. As I've mentioned in number 1, this is very important in any other type of relationship. Our male protagonist had to learn the hard way about the fact that even though he had been raising his kids for 18 years, he still had so many things he didn't know about them. This is something we notice in almost every single family. Once a child starts puberty and enters into their teenage years, they start having that gap with their parents. They often start having their own worlds where friends are at the core instead of their families. Maybe it's because of the generation gap, but I believe it is also because of the lack of communication between the parents and the children. And that lack of communication can be the result of so many things. That is why number 8, parents, be a friend to your children. While establishing that authority to your children matters, being a friend to them is just as important. And why is this? To quote the male protagonist, they told Go Young, someone they met today, things they never told Hong Dae-young, who raised them for nearly 20 years. Oftentimes, children, especially those in their teenage years, find it easier to talk to their friends rather than their parents, creating that gap between them. But this is mostly because most parents make it hard to have a heart-to-heart talk with them. Although we know they mean well for all the reminders and commands they give to us, sometimes it can be quite suffocating. On the other hand, there are parents who seem to not care much by not giving enough care and attention to their children. Finding that balance can be hard as a parent, but if you can be their friend, then things may just be a little easier. Be someone they could openly talk to about their struggles and wants. Be someone they know they could rely on. Number 9, learn to apologize and be a good example. Live what you teach. When they were little, you taught your kids to apologize when they make mistakes. That's why learn to apologize when you make mistakes, when you fail to keep your promises to them, and when you misunderstand them. It may seem like it's not that big of a deal, but it actually means a lot to get an apology from our parents when it is due. Apologizing and being a friend to us doesn't decrease your authority as our parents. Instead, it develops that bond and trust between us.